Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Flag, a channel where we'll be making podcasts after every F1 race. And we are starting with this weekend's Emilia Romagna Grand Prix that took place in Imola. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix podcast. I'm Michael Shaheen, and I'm with Joseph Serkis.
Hello, everyone.
And this is the podcast that will be covering the Grand Prix that took place in Imola. Let's first jump into the results. So can you please come
Yes,
to
of
us?
course. So in P1, we had Max Verstappen winning the race, completing the podium places. We had Sergio Perez's teammate, and then Lando Norris getting his first podium of the season. In P4, we had George Russell, Valtteri Bottas P5, Charles Leclerc P6, Yuki in P7, Sebastian Vettel in P8, P9, Kevin Magnussen, and completing the points is Lance Stroll in P10. Missing the points, we had Alex Albon P11, Pierre Gasly P12, Lewis Hamilton P13, Esteban Ocon P14 after his 5-second penalty was applied, Guan Yu Zhou P15, and Nicholas Latifi in P17, Mick Schumacher P18, and the last of the finisher, oh sorry, Mick Schumacher P17, and the last of the finishers was Daniel Ricciardo in P18. And the two non-finishers of the race were Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz, the two Spaniards.
Ironic. Uh, so this was kind of an eventful weekend with not so many events. It was kind of a weird weekend. What were your big takeaways
My
from
big takeaways
from?
from this race is first of all this weekend was kind of up and down, like you said. It wasn't like really that eventful, but you can say that we didn't have the on-track battles and the on-track action, especially in the sprint. My big takeaways was first of all Red Bull. It looked so fast this weekend.
Yeah, with their
Your opinions
upgrades?
on that? Yeah, those up
Yeah, they
those
brought
up
the upgrades. I mean,
Yeah, they looked miles ahead of Ferrari. That's one of my key points. Like I wrote that down, miles ahead of Ferrari.
um, miles ahead. I'm not sure. They looked faster for sure,
Yeah,
but
especially Max.
yeah, I saw on the telemetry. I saw Charles on the pace he had on the softs could have caught up with Perez and even overtook him. I don't know if Perez was managing his tires. I didn't look at I didn't look at his brakes and lift off. But
Yeah, but Sergio
Charles
Perez
had pace.
Yeah, but Sergio pitted after Charles, which means he didn't have the same temperature yet, and they didn't get to drive many laps behind each other because well, Charles Leclerc spun like
Yeah,
3 or 4 laps after the battle began.
his stint. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Red Bull were pretty fast. That's true. Uh, does this define the championship? Not yet, because Ferrari have yet to come with updates. They're still at the same card since the Barcelona tests. So that tells you how fast this beauty is.
Yeah,
So
but I think if Red Bull can sort their reliability issues, they're sitting in a very good place because Max Verstappen has actually won every single race he's finished this season so far.
yeah, I mean, I never doubted Max's abilities, neither Checo's as well. But I think it'll come down to development race. Helmut Marko thinks that Red Bull are going to be miles ahead and are going to win the constructors, but he doesn't rule out Charles from the drivers' championship.
Yeah, but if we're gonna
Uh,
believe everything that Helmut Marko says, like we're living in a completely different universe right now, completely different reality. If we can
yeah,
believe Helmut Marko, he has a big mouth. Let's just say that.
I respect the man, but I do agree that he's got kind of weird takes on some topics.
Yeah, he has a really bold take, let's say.
Yeah, especially like what he said about Lewis this weekend was kind of disrespectful in
Yeah,
my opinion.
it was kind of harsh in my opinion. We'll get onto that later. But for me, what really impressed me about Red Bull is they showed that they not only have straight line speed, which they showed in the previous 3 races, but they also have downforce. Imola being a high downforce circuit.
Yeah, nice downforce. Yeah, I mean, I thought I think that's one of Adrian Newey's trademarks is having a nice cornering speed, a good like good downforce on the car. It's been like that since the Vital days. Um, so I don't know. I think that I never doubted that. I just knew. I mean, they have one of the greatest engineers, aerodynamicists in F1 with Adrian. So I never doubted that they would make a fast car. Um, Now, I think they're quite equal with Ferrari. I'm not so sure now. Maybe we will see when Ferrari brings some small upgrades and then some bigger upgrades. We'll see how it pans out. But yeah, I don't know. New
Yeah,
championship, new teams,
the,
new
yeah, the
everything
championship.
seems
Yeah, the
exciting.
championship looks much closer now, especially because Max gained a total of 19 points on Leclerc this weekend with the sprint and this, and he gained 19 points on Leclerc, basically halving the deficit, even more than that, actually.
I think the deficit is now 19 points.
No, I'm pretty sure he
He
gained more
gained
than points.
25, 26 plus 8.
26 minus, he got a total of 34 points this weekend. Leclerc got 7 in the sprint, and then he got 8. So, yeah, he gained 19 points. He got 7 in the sprint and 8 in the
Yeah, I
race.
gained. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
19 points on Leclerc this week. Okay, okay. I completely. Yeah, I was off. I thought you meant like on the whole weekend how much points he got. Okay, anyways. Um, yeah, I mean, I never doubted Max. I've always said the boy maybe is the best talent. Him and Leclerc are the best talents on the field. So I was expecting this battle to come sooner or later. I'm happy it's come sooner than later. Um, but yeah, these boys are gonna give us a nice time.
quite the entertaining battle. Also, a very important point. We've seen back-to-back Grand Slams for the first time since 1979. Max Verstappen scored the Grand Slam this weekend. And he also, funnily enough, scored maximum points, scoring 34 points on a weekend, which is a record, obviously because of the sprint format, the new sprint
Yeah,
format.
exactly.
But 34 points on a weekend, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's still impressive. Yeah, I mean that's impressive. I mean this shows how much the season is looking exciting. And it's not only at the top of the field we're having battles, is it? I want to cover this. One of my key points is let's move on. One of my key points is the battle for. Yeah, I mean that's impressive. I mean this shows how much the season is looking exciting. And it's not only at the top of the field we're having battles, is it? I want to cover this. One of my key points is let's move on. One of my key points is the battle for third in the championship.
The battle
Who
for
is the
third.
third fastest car on the field? Is it
Uh,
McLaren? Is it Mercedes? Hell, is it even maybe Alpine? But Alpine has been unlucky with Fernando. Um, all of
y-
them look quite
yeah, well,
fast, racy.
the third fastest car right now looks to be very track specific. There is no like one faster car than the other. It seems to be track specific. For example, we saw
Ah,
last weekend McLaren were behind Mercedes, especially in the race. But this weekend they seem like pretty much they had the upper hand on Mercedes.
yeah, but and also Alpine seem to have good qualifying speed, but then when it comes to the race, they haven't fixed some issues yet. I mean, like
Well,
you said, just for now it's been track specific. First two
well,
races was Mercedes, then McLaren came up in Australia. They were kind of equal. Then now McLaren are ahead. Um,
yeah, I think it's
but I
just
give
going to be
McLaren
faster.
the upper hand.
Yeah,
I kind of
I mean, Mercedes being Mercedes, I'll always give them the upper hand. But yeah,
no.
it
I
seems to
think
be.
McLaren have the upper hand only because they've been fortunate. Like in Australia, George was fortunate with the safety car, and then he stayed in P3 and P4. Then Saudi, Lewis benefited from DR DR gig like having an issue and Fernando having an issue. And even this race, Russell benefited from DR having an issue, Carlos having an issue, Mick having an issue. So yeah, I think Mercedes are doing a really great job at maximizing their chances, but I don't know if this streak of luck will stay there.
I mean, obviously, Mercedes are not going to be relying on luck if they want to score major points this season. They're going to be relying on upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you think their upgrades will do any job, any improvements?
we haven't seen any upgrades yet on that Mercedes car, any major upgrades at least, so it's hard to tell right now. I don't think we can clearly tell if those upgrades are going to work or not.
And who's better right now, George or Lewis?
Right now it's hard to tell. Like obviously Lewis is that eight-time world champion, but right now you can't deny that George is sorry,
Seven time,
I just did a Christian Horner right now. Yes, seven-time world
seven,
champ.
seven. You're gonna make some people.
Um, but you can't deny that George is the one delivering at the moment.
Yeah, right now he's being a big leader for the team. Do you think it's due of the lack of midfield battles and bad
No,
cars for Lewis and George having been used 3 years at
no,
Williams to an average car, or does
no.
is it
I just
part?
think that George is, first of all, he's that good of a driver, and Lewis Hamilton. Let's not forget
Yeah.
that. Lewis Hamilton, well, he has not used to driving a car like that. He's used to be fighting at the front. So driving a poor car is like it's a new experience for him. He hasn't driven one his entire career. And what I
No,
think,
he had. He
yeah,
said in 2009,
yeah, but 2009 that
2009 he
car
said he
after
had a bad car.
upgrades after upgrades that car ended up being a two-time race winner. So and I also think that Mercedes, being in the spot they are right now, struggling a lot. They are trying two different things on the cars in the same weekend, um, which is why I think George Russell was struggling so much with back pain, but we didn't see Hamilton complaining about it. I think they had different setups on their cars, maybe. Maybe Russell went with a more aggressive setup, and Lewis Hamilton with a more conservative setup.
Yeah, I didn't dive deep into the setups. I heard from Nico Rosberg what he said was that they had the similar car, both of them. So I don't know. But Nico isn't a big fan of Lewis, I heard, but is a big fan of George since his Williams days. So is he biased? I guess. So yeah, I mean, it looks to be a good battle throughout the whole field. We have for the lead Red Bull, Ferrari, and maybe someone will join them. And then from the midfield, there's like McLaren, Mercedes, Alpine, and behind there's Aston, and all of them fighting except Williams. Williams seem to have a lack of pace, even though Albon is showing a lot of um, he's showing what he's made of. He's showing he's actually a great driver,
Yeah,
underrated driver.
he's actually on the yeah. I think Albon was unfairly especially in his time at Red Bull. Especially in his time at Red Bull, he was compared to probably one of the best drivers on the grid line right now in Max Verstappen. And
Yeah, it was
yeah, he's
unfortunate.
reviving. Yeah, he's reviving his career at the moment. Um, shall we move on to our next point?
Yeah, go on,
Okay,
take it away.
so my next point is we kind of already talked about this, but not in details. Lewis Hamilton struggling. What do you think about that?
I mean, I stated my opinion. I think it's for me. I feel like he's just not used to fighting and driving a car like that anymore. Fighting a car. He's used to the car doing what he wants. The last time a car didn't do what he wanted was back, like he said in an interview in 2009 with that McLaren. So I think he just got used to the car always doing what he wants, and now he's getting used to fighting the car a bit more, having an unstable, um, not unstable, not comfortable car to drive, uncomfortable car to drive. So I think it's just a matter of time till we see Lewis back at his best, and I believe he'll always back up what he says. And he said at the start of the season, before the start of the season, that what we saw at the end of 2021 wasn't um, his best. I do believe he'll back his claim. When? How much
Yeah,
time? I don't know. Will he
when
lose
does
the
the meeting?
motivation?
Personally, I
maybe
think
because of
2021.
the
I think 2020 and 2021 Lewis is the best version of Lewis we'll see. I don't think he'll kind of top that.
yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait. That's what I mean because I think he just needs adaptation time, new cars, shit car as well, bad car, excuse us, bad car. So
I'll make sure to bleep that.
yeah, yeah,
Well, we kind of already talked about that point. Thank you for ruining the me. So there is no point talking about Lewis Hamilton versus George Russell anymore. So you wanna move on to one of your topics?
yeah, yeah. Talking about Mercedes people, we're gonna talk about the good old Valtteri Bottas left Mercedes
Ooh,
last year for Alfa Romeo,
what
and
a move
I
this
just
has
wanted to
turned out to.
say, yeah, Bottas and Alfa Romeo seem to be the best pairings, the best pairing this season,
Well,
at least one of the best.
yeah, well, certainly
So
the most
yeah, what can you say
surprising,
about that?
definitely.
What do you think about that?
They've definitely been the most surprising this season. Bottas consistently scoring big points for the team. Um, and ironically enough, he's been outperforming Mercedes on multiple occasions, mainly in Jeddah and in Imola this weekend, where he qualified ahead of both Mercedes. Obviously, George Russell had a very good recovery, overtaking Bottas, but Bottas was putting pressure on Russell at the end of the race.
Yeah, he's doing great at in that Alfa Romeo seat. I feel like Bottas's whole career has been revived now. I feel like we're back seeing the exciting young Bottas that we had back in 2016 when he was still at Williams, 2016, 2015. And I'm really happy about that. Um, do you think they can build a championship winning team together, him and Alfa?
I don't think they'll have enough time to build because Alfa Romeo is not only very far from the top teams right now in terms of pace and the car, but also as a team they need to go a long way to be able to compete for championships. I don't think
They need
Alfa
to
Romeo
learn
as
a
a
lot of stuff
team.
still.
Yeah, I don't think Alfa Romeo as a team are ready to compete for championships, and I don't think Bottas will be around for long enough to see Alfa Romeo win a championship.
I mean, he's showing no signs of slowing down.
Yeah,
But yeah, I kind of feel like it's just we're seeing him in his prime that got kind of diminished at Mercedes, like he said, because of the one year contracts that he had, and the fact that Lewis was always favored. 3 races into the season, they started favoring Lewis.
yeah, but he's
Yeah,
not
I
getting
think
any
I'm happy
younger.
for him.
He's not getting any younger though. He's already 32 years old, so I don't know, maybe, hopefully. I wouldn't mind
Yeah,
seeing Valtteri Bottas win a championship.
I would love to see him win a championship. I don't know
Yeah,
if we will.
personally, I don't think so, but I wouldn't mind it.
Do you think him and Alpha are the best pairing on the field on the whole grid?
They're definitely the most surprising pairing on the grid. I wouldn't go as far as to say they are the best pairing on the grid. Obviously, you have Max and the Red Bull, Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. Um, yeah, but they're definitely the most surprising so far.
Yeah, we've like you said, Max, Red Bull, Charles, Ferrari. Yeah, I didn't expect him to get back to these highs. I thought he'd be fighting for P10s, 11s. Yeah,
Yeah, same here.
I'm happy
I
for him.
did. Yeah, same here. I'm very happy for the guy.
Lovely guy, Valtteri.
Yes. Do you have anything to add on this topic, or should we move on to another topic?
No,
Okay.
we
This
love
one,
Valtteri, but we can move on.
yeah. This one we were talking about it last week after the Australian Grand Prix. We were talking about this team, Aston Martin. They scored a double points finish this race.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I was happy to see that
yeah. After
because
that,
I've been defending them. I've been defending them
yeah,
for this whole time
you were saying
because
that their pace was not bad. They just had a shambles of a weekend.
yeah, they were fine. They've always, at least Lance has always finished on the door of the points in the first 3 rounds. Um, So I find it good that they both finished in the points, him and Sebastian. Was it due to luck between the qualifying in the rain and then sprint race having changeable conditions and then the race as well having a bit of changeable conditions?
I mean,
Yes, of course, this played a part, but I don't think that's all.
they did finish P8 and P10, so if if you take into consideration that Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz, the only two DNFs, were ahead of them. Actually, Daniel Ricciardo
Yeah,
also. Daniel Ricciardo, he was ahead of them. Neither of them would have scored points, but um,
they'd still be on the
yeah,
door of the point.
yeah, but if they weren't there to take advantage of those DNFs, they wouldn't have scored points.
Yes, I'm actually very happy for Seb because second weekend in, he's got 2 weekends less than
Yeah, do you,
Lance in the car, and he scores more points. Very
yes,
happy for him.
yeah, same here. Do you think he's getting up to grips with his car?
I think I'm not sure because this was like I said, rainy conditions, and we know how good Seb is in the rain. Minus
Yeah,
Germany 2018. Um,
flashbacks for all fans.
um, yes, I'm having nightmares still. But I still believe he's got it in him. I think Seb in a championship winning car would fight for the championship, maybe win it. Will Aston give him enough motivation to keep going in the sport and eventually give him a championship winning car? Oh, this I don't know. I'm not sure about. I hope he continues in this sport. Still too early to tell for
Yeah,
the season, but yeah,
yeah, I've been hearing
what I
rumors
saw
that
from his body
Sebastian.
language,
Yeah, sorry, carry
uh,
on.
what I heard from body, what I saw from his body language and how he's looking at his car, getting out of it, getting into it, he seems to be already tired,
Yeah,
even though it's a second race in that car.
yeah, I've heard rumors that Sebastian might be retiring at the end of the season. Hope this is not true. I love the guy, but you can't deny that he's not driving the best on the grid right now. And if he's not fighting for at least high points for a four-time world champion, I think you start losing motivation at the end.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll leave F1 fully. I think he'll stay as a mentor to Mick.
Yeah, maybe as an advisor, like
Yeah,
kind
I
of a
think he'll
Jensen
stay.
Button type of role.
he- I think he'll stay around for Mick to pay back for Michael what Michael did to Seb, and I think
Yeah,
he wants to be there for Mick,
yeah, yeah, I think so. I think
especially all our
after the
thoughts are Michael Schumacher.
yeah, I think he'll do the same as well. Um, Finally, do you think that the pace was track specific, or do you think that Aston Martin do actually have a pretty decent car? They just have been unlucky and couldn't show the pace in the
I
past races.
I'm kind of torn up because I want to say that they have a fine car, but what I've seen and how Sebastian um describes it and how Lance describe it, they both barely understand the car and feel like it's kind of undrivable. And Seb hasn't named the car yet because it's not competitive enough, and I'm not driving the car. I don't know as much as Seb. So I believe it's a car that has a really fine margin to work. It needs to be really in a small window. Its window of work is small. But when you're in that window, I think it's a midfield car. It's there. It can fight for points. Not high points, but it can fight for points.
Yes, I completely agree with that point.
I think they're like better than Williams, but not better than Alpha Tauri yeah, or Haas. So I think yeah, they're like ninth, eighth in the field.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that point. Uh, we did
Talking about the
mention,
track, let me take it away. Let me take
yeah,
it
we
away.
did mention at the
Uh,
beginning that the race wasn't the most
I
level. Is it,
yeah, I
do you
wanted to
think
talk
it's track
about that
specific?
because uh I mean Imola, great track, big history in F1. Amazing for drivers. The drivers love it because it's punishing. mistakes. They need to be full focus. But the races, sprint and the Sunday race, um, were quite boring, especially when the DRS was out.
Yeah,
So I don't know, honestly. Do you think it's like Monaco?
no, I don't think it's as bad as Monaco. Monaco, we barely see any overtakes, and when we do, the car that's doing the overtaking has a major pace advantage over the other guy. Um, and if a driver is skilled enough, they can keep the other driver behind, even if they do have a faster car. But I think the main straight in Imola, if you have DRS and the guy in front of you doesn't, I think it's pretty easy over.
Yeah, but then okay, so basically you just wait for 1 minute and then you have to wait for the straight for overtaking. I mean, and I think in the dry it would have been a nice race, but maybe the fact that the first half of the race was in both the sprint and the normal one, the both of them had the DRS taken away at the beginning. Maybe this had to play a role. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
honestly thought it was kind of boring. It reminded me of Monaco, France in 2019.
yeah, it reminded me of France in
Um,
2019 as well. One of the most boring races I've ever watched.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about Imola. I mean, I like the Pierre Gasly what he said about the historical tracks that they need to stay, but eventually I think Liberty Media, owners of F1, for people that don't know, I think eventually they want mainly to put up a show and to make F1 bigger. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get rid of our historical GPs.
Yeah, me neither.
I'd be sad because I
Yeah,
love
sad.
our historical GPs, but I don't. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but the thing is, F1 is evolving in those
I
tracks,
wouldn't be
so
surprised.
there's that RX, and when we do, the car that's doing the overtaking has a major pace advantage over the other guy. Um, and if a driver is skilled enough, they can keep the other driver behind, even if they do have a faster car. But I think the main straight in Imola, if you have DRS and the guy in front of you doesn't, I think it's pretty easy over.
Yeah, but then okay, so basically you just wait for 1 minute and then you have to wait for the straight for overtaking. I mean, and I think in the dry it would have been a nice race, but maybe the fact that the first half of the race was in both the sprint and the normal one, the both of them had the DRS taken away at the beginning. Maybe this had to play a role. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
honestly thought it was kind of boring. It reminded me of Monaco, France in 2019.
yeah, it reminded me of France in
Um,
2019 as well. One of the most boring races I've ever watched.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about Imola. I mean, I like the Pierre Gasly what he said about the historical tracks that they need to stay, but eventually I think Liberty Media, owners of F1, for people that don't know, I think eventually they want mainly to put up a show and to make F1 bigger. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get rid of our historical GPs.
Yeah, me neither.
I'd be sad because I
Yeah,
love
sad.
our historical GPs, but I don't. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but the thing is, F1 is evolving in those
I
tracks,
wouldn't be
so
surprised.
there's that argument.
Yeah, that's all I had to say on about Imola.
Yeah, shall we move on to grading the drivers?
Did the driver ratings?
Yes, grading the drivers.
We can move on to the
Okay, so we
grading the
start
drivers,
from.
but you'll have to lead the way because
Yeah, I have the results in front of me, so we start from the back going to the front. Carlos Sainz, what do you give him?
uh, unfortunately to turn one, I'm gonna give him a five, six, six and
Yeah,
a half, 6.5.
I'm
I'm feeling because he had a good sprint race, bad quali, and was unlucky in the race.
I'm gonna give him a 4 because the only thing he had to show was the sprint, unfortunately for him. And even at the
Yeah,
start of the race, he was falling back. Okay, Fernando Alonso, P19. What do you give him? What grade do you give him?
as well. 6, I guess.
I mean, it was a very quiet weekend from Fernando. Even in the sprint, he didn't score any point. I don't think any points. I don't think so. So I'm gonna give him also for really quiet weekend for Fernando, unusual. Um,
Yeah,
Daniel Ricardo.
I have 5.
Daniel Ricardo.
Also a
I'm
bit
going.
quiet.
No, I'm going to give him. I'm actually going to give him a six because he had a very good qualifying. He qualified
Yeah, I
and
was torn up. I was torn up between 5 and 6, but I ended up choosing 5 because I mean I know it wasn't his goal to hit signs, but he had room to the right and could have not taken the curb and slid away and hit him. But yeah, whatever. Who's
yeah,
next? Is it Mick?
it's
Mick
Mick.
had us
Yep, it's Mick
tremendous.
in P.
I
It
gave
was
him
Mick in
3.
P17. You give him a 3 out of 10. Pretty harsh. He had kind of a half decent sprint, but qualifying he struggled, and in the race he struggled. I'll also give him a 3. Can't catch a break at the moment, Mick.
I love him, but can't deny.
Yes. Nicholas Latifi, yet another weekend going unnoticed because he hasn't crashed.
Yeah, I mean I gave him a 5.
I
No honest opinion on this weekend. He was fine.
I gave him a 3, considering where his teammate finished. He was pretty poor this weekend.
Yeah.
Mm, P15, we had Joe Guan Yu. Also didn't notice him there this weekend. How about you?
Yeah, I was surprised because he had a few couple races, good couple
Yeah,
races.
yeah, decent races.
I
Um,
gave him 5. He didn't do many mistakes, but he was off pace, off his team pace.
yeah, same here. I'll also give him a 5 over 10. Um, Alpine's only finisher, Esteban Ocon, in P14.
Uh, I'm again. I like Ocon, but he seemed off the pace in front of Alonso, uh,
Uh,
especially in quali.
yeah, he was pretty far
So
off in quali.
maybe yeah, 5, 6, 6,
I
because he
gave him
finished the race at least.
I gave him a 5. The man of the weekend for
Yeah.
all the wrong reasons in P13, Lewis Hamilton. What grade did you give him?
Uh, 6 as well. 6.
I gave ah I gave him a 2.
No, because see, I don't think. I mean, he is off the pace of his teammate, but like I think any driver would have been stuck in this train behind the Williams.
Yeah, but his teammates showed that Mercedes is capable of overtaking other cars. So why shouldn't he be able to do it?
Yeah, but like yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I respect him too much. I
I
respect all
mean,
of them too much.
you
So
know how big of a Lewis Hamilton fan I am, but I can't deny he has had a pretty poor weekend.
yeah, no, I'm not denying he had a poor weekend, but like I honestly think even maybe if you had put the McLaren in that position, they would have struggled to overtake because that Williams had such high like
Yeah,
was
maybe.
fast.
Yeah, maybe. P12, you had Pierre Gasly. What did you give him?
5.
I gave him a 6 purely because he was taking the piss out of Lewis Hamilton the entire race.
I mean, good race keeping Lewis behind, but he's off the pace.
Yeah,
Just
same.
that.
Yeah, I mean, Yuki Tsunoda surprisingly beat him this weekend, which you don't usually see. Yuki
Yeah,
beating
we're
Gasly.
becoming to dating. I'm very happy for him.
Coming very close to scoring back-to-back points in back-to-back weekends. Alex Albon in P11. What
What
grade
did
did
I
you give
give
him?
Latifi? Did I give him a 5?
Yeah, you gave him a 5.
Yeah, Albon is 7.
Yeah, I'll give Albon a solid 7 as well, especially keeping Gasly behind without having the aid of DRS.
Yeah,
And
kudos to the Williams.
yeah, okay, so the first driver to score points this weekend was Lance Stroll in P10. I gave him actually
Uh,
7 out of 10. It was a pretty good effort from Lance, and considering the fact that At one, he was battling with Lewis, and Lewis ended up finishing a P13, and Lance ended up scoring points. It was a
Yeah,
very
I
great
gave him a
weekend.
6.5. 6.5, I think, is reasonable. I do agree with what you said. Vance had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, yeah, kind of flew under the radar as well. Kevin Magnussen in P9 scoring points for after a point this weekend in Australia. What grade do you give him?
7. Hey,
7.
Mag, I gave him.
I'll give him a
He
7
he
as
kind
well.
of because I mean, if it's the that's the thing. I don't know if the car is as good as he makes it look, or if it's as bad as Mick makes it look. So I don't know, like if he's outperforming the car or if Mick is not performing at all.
I think it's a mixture of both. Anyways,
Yeah, still respect
in
Magnus, the
yeah,
Viking.
in P8 we had Sebastian Vettel. I gave him a 9.
Yeah, Sebastian, I gave 7.5, one grade higher than his.
Yeah, I gave him a 9 purely because it's Sebastian Vettel and I love the guy. Um,
Yeah,
s- yeah, I mean P8 scoring 4 points for Aston Martin on in his second race of the season.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty decent if you ask me.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
good.
the Samurai Yuki Tsunoda in P7. What grade do you give him?
Uh, 8.5. I really enjoyed that weekend from Yuki. I was really happy for him. Performed very well.
Yeah, I gave him an 8. It was a really good weekend from Yuki Tsunoda.
I think he's finally showing his potential.
Yeah, I mean, I called him over. I used to call him overrated, but this weekend he performed pretty well. I still think he's a bit overrated. I can't obviously change my whole opinion on of a driver based on one
On
weekend,
one
but
race, yeah.
yeah, but he did pretty good. In P6, surprisingly, it was Charles. I gave him
Don't
a
break my
four
heart.
out of I gave him a 4 out of 10.
I gave him 6 because he was close to Max in quali, close to Max in
What?
sprint.
He wasn't close to Max in quali. He was 8 tenths off Max in
He
quali.
was supposed to be. He was supposed to be because
Well,
there
you
was a
can.
red flag.
You can't say he was supposed to be. He wasn't close.
I
So
can because it's Charles Leclerc. I can.
okay, Mr. Fanboy.
Yeah. So I gave him a 6. He was close in quali. He was supposed to be close in quali. I'm gonna give this to you. He was good at the sprint, good in the sprint. But then the race, the Red Bull seemed just much better, and he did that greedy mistake that made him lose 8 points.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, spinning the car. In P5 we had the man we were talking about earlier, Valtteri Bottas. Do you like the way I say
Valtteri.
it? Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, Valtteri Bottas. 8. Valtteri
Yeah,
8.
yeah, I gave him an 8 as well. Um, the man on fire right now, George Russell in P4.
Yeah, George 8.5, even maybe 9. I'm not sure,
Yeah, I gave him an
but
8.5.
very good race. He knows when to take his opportunity, doesn't overdo it, expects the limits of his car. Yeah, he's just monster at the moment.
Okay, this one's gonna be a quick one. Lando Norris, I give him a 10 out of 10. Perfect weekend for him.
Lando Norris, yeah, very good. 9.
Yeah, I give him a 10.
Nothing to say.
Sergio Perez, a pretty decent weekend. He was a bit off the pace compared to Max, but pretty decent
Yeah, I
weekend.
gave him an 8. I mean, because
I gave
yeah,
him
8.
8.5.
I don't think I need to justify an 8 or 8.5. Yeah.
Yeah, and the results in front of me, I have Max Verstappen in P1, but I put a couple of lines between him and P2 just to remind me of how far ahead he was from the rest of the grid.
Yeah,
And
flawless 10. Flawless
yeah,
10, Max.
10 out of 10 easily. If I could give him an 11, I would.
I mean, if honestly, if the race don't give him a 10 in their ratings, this I didn't check them,
I
but
think
if I check them and I see that they gave him,
yeah, they did give him a 10, I think.
yeah, okay, because not giving him a 10 would be a crime. The
Yeah,
man was in another universe this weekend, not
yeah,
only planet.
yeah. Um,
Flawless.
flawless weekend from him. So that's it for the gradings. Shall we move on to some quick predictions for the next race in Miami?
Predictions in Miami. Shoot your shot. Tell me your predictions.
Okay, obviously it's gonna be really hard to predict because it's a new track,
Two
but
weeks.
yeah, in 2 weeks, but
2 weeks away. New track.
um
Updates. I think
no, I
reports
don't
of
think.
updates
No, I
for a
don't
lot of
think. I think
teams.
they're gonna they're gonna wait for until Spain to bring the upgrades because it's a European track, so it's gonna be closer and cheaper to ship in the parts.
I think Ferrari
Um,
are going with a small update to Miami.
yeah, maybe.
Um,
So
that's what I
Miami,
heard.
I predict another Red Bull win. To be honest, I predict another Red Bull one too. I'd even go as far as to say that because Miami, I think it has a lot of straights. Correct me if I'm wrong. From what I remember, Miami has a lot of straights, and Red Bull has been the benchmark for straight line speed. So I predict a Red Bull 1-2, and then maybe Charles Leclerc in P3. Obviously, I know that's a pretty obvious prediction, not bold, but um, that's what I think is going to happen. And my bold prediction for the weekend is going to be Lewis is gonna come back and show Russell who's boss.
Hmm, surprising. Yeah, I mean, exciting predictions. Um, I believe Red Bull 1-2 is plausible. It's possible. They look like the better force and fastest car on the field. In third position, I'm torn up between Charles and Carlos because I mean Charles is undoubtedly the best right now in that team, but also Carlos is looking for redemption, so maybe he'll pull out a great weekend. And my bold prediction is gonna be Mick in the points.
Oh, that's a good one actually.
Mick to score points hopefully this weekend.
I hope so. First, his first
Uh,
points in F1.
yeah, I would be happy. I mean, I'm a
Y-
big Schumacher fan.
So that's it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do you have anything else to add?
thanks, Uzu, for the nice conversation.
Yeah, it was nice
Thank you
talking to
everyone
you.
for watching. Like, comment your predictions for the Miami GP as well, and see you then. Bye bye.
Bye.